Nothing is wrong. No one is following you. And yet your heart starts beating faster. Your shoulders tighten. Your eyes scan every shadow. There is no lion here. There hasn't been a lion anywhere near you, ever. So why does your body react like there is one? Deep in your skull sits a small cluster of neurons called the amygdala, built over millions of years for one job: keeping you alive on the savannah. It doesn't know what a street light is. It just asks one question, constantly. Is this dangerous? And it would rather be wrong 100 times than right too late once. Think about the trade-off. If your ancestor heard a rustle in the grass and assumed wind, but it was a lion, that mistake was fatal. If they assumed lion and it was only wind, the cost was nothing. A racing heart for a few seconds. So evolution didn't build an accurate brain. It built a paranoid one, because paranoid brains survive. Evolutionary psychiatrist Randolph Nesse calls this the smoke detector principle. A detector that only triggers during real fires is badly designed. You want one that occasionally shrieks at burnt toast because a false alarm costs you annoyance, while a missed fire costs you everything. Your amygdala is wired the same way, built to over-trigger rather than under-trigger. Here's where it gets stranger. Neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades mapping how fear moves through the brain. He found two separate pathways. One is slow. Information travels to your cortex, gets analyzed, and only then do you react. The other is fast and dumb, what Ledoux called the low road. Raw sensory input goes almost straight to the amygdala, triggering full alarm before your thinking brain even knows what happened. You jump back from a coiled garden hose before you consciously register it isn't a snake. The fear comes first. The explanation comes second. That order matters. You aren't in control of your first reaction to danger. You only manage what happens after. Does this paranoid system misfire on a larger scale? Constantly. In 1961, psychologist Stanley Milgram ran an experiment that had nothing to do with lions and everything to do with how the brain treats perceived threats to social order. Ordinary volunteers were told to deliver what they believed were painful shocks to a stranger, simply because a man in a lab coat calmly told them to continue. Most did, not from cruelty. Some old part of the brain quietly calculated that defying authority felt more dangerous in the moment than harming someone else. The lion had been replaced by a man in a white coat, and the alarm system couldn't tell the difference. Your amygdala still runs that calculation today, dozens of times before lunch. A blunt email, a phone buzzing at 2 a.m., a stranger walking too closely behind you. None of these are lions. But your body doesn't wait for permission. It floods you with adrenaline first and asks questions later, because for 200,000 years, that strategy is the only reason your ancestors survived long enough to have you. The problem is that a lion attack lasts seconds. A modern stressor, an unanswered text, a looming deadline can last for days. Your amygdala was built for short, sharp threats, followed by long calm, not for slow, constant alerts delivered through a screen in your pocket. So it stays on. It keeps checking the grass for lions that were quietly replaced generations ago by emails. So what do you do with a smoke detector that can't tell fire from toast? You don't rip it out of the wall. You still need it. What you can do is recognize the ancient machinery at work the next time your chest tightens over something that clearly isn't a predator. That racing heart on a quiet street isn't broken. It's 200,000 years old, running exactly as designed, pointed at a world it was never built to understand. You're not walking alone. You're walking with the ghost of every lion your ancestors ever survived, still standing guard behind your ribs.